Might be a change in the usual bright turquoise that we're used to seeing up at Bear Lake, and while it's temporary, it may be a sign of a bigger problem.
Not a good sign, though. News specialist Mike Anderson talked with one expert about why it's likely happening and why we may see more of it. But Mike, I first want to ask you, can you actually see it from where you are?
Yeah, Dini, I think I can. I've noticed, I think all day, even from here, you don't see as much as that pronounced turquoise. But the folks at Bear Lake Watch, a local environmental group, say it's temporary. What we're seeing right now is all the water coming in from the Bear River diluting the calcium carbonate particles that make the water blue. But there are, however, some longer-term issues that some worry could bring lasting problem and lasting change.
If you can't truly appreciate what you have,
very pristine lake,
you may one day lose it.
and they only get worse from here unless we get smarter about it.
Dr. Patrick Belmont, head of Watershed Sciences at Utah State University, says while there is no direct data to suggest that the lake is changing color now, aside from people's observations, there are things happening here that we should all care about.
And over these last couple of months, there's been a lot of sediment that's been coming in, just particles in the water that get distributed all around the lake. And sometimes we can see these from the satellite imagery.
And that's likely what we're seeing now. It will eventually settle, but it leaves behind some muddy shores and pushes the shallow beaches out further, which he says can be a problem for fish that spawn upstream and the overall ecology.
That used to be much less of a problem because the Bear River used to filter through Dingle Marsh and Mud Lake, and a lot of those sediments would filter out there.
But the other issue is perhaps more alarming.
I was shocked.
Around 2 years ago, algal blooms started to show up here,
Which is a big concern. So we're putting more nutrients in the lake specifically because there are some septic systems in there that probably need to be upgraded or converted over to real sewer and wastewater treatment systems.
He says cities, counties, developers, and homeowners need to work together to turn that tide back.
Because once you start that cycle, it's really hard to reverse it.
And where the Caribbean of the Rockies is sure to turn back to its usual color soon, we could lose it permanently down the line.
Now is the time to start taking action and start building a better Bear Lake.
And the folks at Bear Lake Watch say that they're working closely with Idaho's Department of Environmental Quality and U.S. Geological Survey to monitor the sediment and measure it, and as well as some of those nutrients around the algal blooms to keep an eye on the problem. Back to you.
Yeah, Mike, a lot of people, call that the Caribbean of the West, so we got to keep the water clear. Thanks.